Hello, chefs. Good evening. We are back again. I'm Isaiah, the young Jedi chef, here with the Dragon Warrior chef, German Lam, and the Phoenix Warrior chef, Noreen. We will be your host for today's podcast. You are listening to a unique podcast where you will discuss the truth, real, raw, and unfiltered. Today, we have the honor of having ACF Young Chefs Club President, Chef Xiomaramora, with us to talk about the importance of getting involved. I'm excited to get started and jump right in. So without further ado, I will let the star of our show, our guest, Chef Xiomaramora, introduce herself. Chef?
Hi guys, how are you? My name is Chef Xiomara. I know it's a little bit of a handful. I'm from Puerto Rico, but I'm currently here living in Lakeland, Florida. It's about an hour away from Tampa, and I'm a part of the American Culinary Federation. I joined the American Culinary Federation when I was about 29 years old. I know what you're thinking. Yeah, that's a little late for the young chefs. That was a little bit of a challenge in the beginning, as there is an assumption that you have to be a certain age to be a part of it. But the reality is that college students range from all different ages. I can tell you that because I'm a professor now. I teach right now at Polk State College, hospitality and tourism. And I see people from all different types of races, ages, that are all a part of this industry. One of the things that I'm a part of also with the American Culinary Federation is I'm a part of the course committee. That is the culinary organization unifying races through socialization and equity task force. Our national chairwoman is Lakeisha Harris. And basically what we do is it's a handful of chefs from across the nation, and we're trying to basically bring diversity into the American Culinary Federation. If you know about the American Culinary Federation, the perception that's out there is that it's a bunch of old white men, that just, have awards. That's the perception that the young culinary industry has of the ACF, and we're here to change that perception. So, a little bit about my background. Um, I currently have 8 degrees. I started off at the Art Institute of Houston, and I wanted to be a chef, a young aspiring chef. My husband was in the military at the time, and I hit a little bit of a rough patch. And for some reason, I wanted to quit, right? We all reach that in the hospitality industry, especially. And if you're a lady, right? If you're a woman, it's definitely tough to climb that ladder. So I ended up quitting school. But as you know, it was a part of God's plan. And I ended up moving to Louisiana from Houston. And everything has a purpose because there I got a job at a local grocery store where I met this one lady, and her name was Miss Faith. Coincidentally, that was her name. Ain't that crazy? But I learned a lot from her. She was 80 years old. She was still working. She passed down a lot of her Creole recipes down to me, and she taught me a lot in the kitchen. Right? I was just a young girl at the time. 10 years later, I had the opportunity. My husband he got out of the military, and we moved to Florida, and I had the opportunity to go to school again at the Art Institute of Tampa, where from there I ended up graduating as the only student with 2 culinary degrees, an associate's in culinary arts, and a bachelor's degree in culinary management. I wanted to learn a little bit about the business side of the culinary industry because one day I do hope to open up either a catering company or a restaurant. And I went to HCC, which is Hillsborough Community College. I graduated there with one associate's and four college credit certificates, which won me the Academic Leadership Award for the community college. And at the same time, I was also pursuing a master's degree, which, I finished. And at UCF, the Rosen College of Hospitality, that's currently the number one hospitality college in the world. Um, and I got my master's there in hospitality and tourism. So just a little bit of a background, how the journey sometimes has, bumps in it, but no matter what your goal is, you can definitely achieve it. So that's a little bit of who I am.
Oh, that was amazing, Chef. Definitely well versed in the industry. A lot of experience to share. I'm super excited to, hear some of your stories throughout our podcast. So
Absolutely.
thank you so much for being here, Chef. Definitely means a lot. So, in the hospitality industry, getting involved is essential to the success in your career, and getting involved shows that you are passionate, driven, and are willing to do whatever it takes to reach the level that you're trying to reach. I believe that the best way to get involved is to say yes to every and any opportunity that might have an opportunity to learn something new and meet new people. This will lead us to our first question. What do you feel is the best way to get involved, and where should a young hospitality professional look to find the best opportunities? You want to start us off, Chef?
Absolutely. So again, this kind of lines up with my story. Um, when I was in at the Art Institute of Tampa, I actually was in Chef Michael Thrash's class, and he invited Renee Marquis, which is our current ACF national president, to our class to talk about the ACF. So mind you, I'm just a student, he's up there. He comes in with all these like beautiful patches. Of course, he has way more than me because he has a ton of medals, but he has a lot of sponsorship on his coat, and he almost looks like a NASCAR driver. You know how like they have all this. I was like, what? Who is this guy? So he came, he told us a little bit about, he was the current Tampa Bay chapter president, and he told us a little bit about the ACF. He invited us to come to the next meeting, which was in September. It so happened to be the banquet, the Tampa Bay banquet, the awards banquet. And one of my friends was like, "Oh, you're really talented. You should really go to that." So I was like, "Well, I'm not doing anything that day. Like, let's go." She's like, "I'm a member. I have an extra ticket. I'll put you on the RSVP." So I ended up going to my very first meeting, which was the awards banquet. And mind you, it was at the Fort Harrison. This was like the most beautiful banquet. You saw the chefs, they all had their individual dishes that they were presenting. They had ice sculptures. You saw the board of directors. You saw everybody, like they were giving away awards to the current members in the Tampa Bay area. And I was really blown away by that because, in the industry, that's just a different side that you don't necessarily see. So I decided to become a student member. And from there, my career basically took off. I was able to start volunteering. So when you become a member of the American Culinary Federation, you join a chapter. We have chapters all over the nation, and each chapter has like different things that you can get involved in, right? You have events that they might be doing that they ask for volunteers for. So my answer to the question would be volunteer your time, right? Volunteering my time is actually what got me to do some of the biggest events in the whole world. So volunteering my time got me to the Super Bowl. I met a chef who was featured at the Super Bowl. The Super Bowl was in Tampa. He only had like 4 tickets for chefs to go. They had to pass like a background. And at the time it was during COVID. So we had to pass the COVID-19 test, right? But it was just an honor to be asked to do it. I was his sous chef at the time. His name is Gaston Meredith, and it was an honor just to be able to do it. He's also a member of the American Culinary Federation, and that particular year, he won Chef of the Year, and I won Student Chef of the Year. So just being involved and volunteering your time. I also was able to go to Sobe in Miami with the Food Network and work with a lot of celebrities, do some events at the Lowe's Miami Hotel. These are all like very fancy, flashy um, events. And I was just a student. I wasn't getting paid for this, but eventually that led me to the events where I was getting paid a lot. I went from making $14 an hour at a caterer to, making anywhere between $300 to $3,000 a day. Right. So I want people to understand that we're usually like put in this box of, oh, you have to be a line cook or you have to be a dishwasher, then become a line cook or prep cook. And move your way up to become a sous chef. And that's not necessarily, the path that you have to take. There's many different paths. Right now, I'm currently a corporate chef and I travel the nation. And I basically do food shows for like large distributors like Cisco, US Foods, for a broker. And that's a job that I didn't even know existed. So again, volunteer time, take the time to go to the meetings. I met my current boss, Bob Arnold. I met him. He's the owner of Suncoast Food Brokerage at an ACF meeting. So, I mean, all of these opportunities and the way that my life changed just because I decided to go to a meeting, and I met people and they saw my talent, right? It definitely makes a difference. So go to a meeting, check it out. And if you need help, I can definitely help you find a local chapter so that you can get involved and we can discuss even like some national events that's going on.
Thank you so much, Chef. I love your story. I could definitely relate to that too. The first ACF convention I went to, that's how everything that I've been able to achieve so far in my career has happened, through connections and just saying yes to every single opportunity. So thank you so much for that story, Chef. Definitely inspiring to a lot of people. So thank you so much.
Right.
Noreen, Chef Lam, what's your take?
Yeah, I love that there are so many different paths that you can forge in the food industry and in hospitality in general. It's one of my favorite things. I was a late comer to the industry. I was in healthcare for 9, 10 years before I decided I wanted to be more on the food wellness versus the medical wellness side of things. And I went to school, I hate to say late, because I think you can go to school anytime, you can change your career anytime. And it is really just about saying yes. I loved volunteering. Even when I was still in healthcare, I did a lot of volunteer work and community service. And those were the pathways that allowed me to teach classes to local people. I wasn't a teacher, but because I met the right people and demonstrated that I had a specific skill set, they were like, all right, you can come and teach these people, it was stop the bleed training, so first aid training. And when I was in school, same thing, just asking around, and I'm interested in food policy. So let me just go to a local city and oh, they have a food insecurity and wellness branch. Let me just ask, can I intern? We can't pay you. Do you want to join? Sure. I'm a student.
Mhm.
So, and I got to meet a lot of cool people. I got to be featured on an app. I got to work with the city commissioner for certain things, attend really cool meetings, and it's just putting yourself out there, and it may be uncomfortable, but like Chef Xiomaramora said, like you never know who's on the other side, who's at the table, who's going to be in the room, who they can introduce you to. And then you find yourself at the Super Bowl. So
Right.
I really love that, just putting yourself out there. And for younger people in the industry, if you're in school, it's a really, really great time to capitalize. Like you have your professors everywhere all around you. Ask them. They always run events, they volunteer, they have businesses. Ask them, go work with them, go to office hours. Like all of those things are invaluable as a student and when you leave, and fostering
Absolutely.
relationships. So
Yeah, definitely. I couldn't agree more, Noreen. Putting yourself out there really exposes you to new skills, new people, and in greater and more opportunities. So thank you so much for that, Noreen. Chef Lamb.
Hey, you know what? I'm listening to this, and I would say I'm a Yoda, old school, right? And for me, I look at new school and old school, and the thing that I could share with is that, I started working at the Ritz-Carlton Hotel, Boston, 5 star. And from there, I learned how to be a professional French chef, you know. And right now in Boston, that hotel doesn't exist. There is no history that could say that, you know what, I was there and this hotel was there. So it's a different era. And to me, I go with your era. And your era meaning like everything that I'm listening to, I would go, you know what? I would sit my butt on a chair, turn on my computer, and I would say, AI. You would ask AI all these questions, and AI will give you a list of the community that you are, the state that you are, or outside Europe, Asia, Middle East, Latin America, and ask these questions. And from there, you will have a list of chefs, owner, or better yet, hotels. You know, the beautiful thing about the Ritz-Carlton Hotel is it's all over the world. So for me, it's more like branding, and it depends on you, which venue do you want to go to, you know? And to me, I gotta say, I didn't realize that I worked at a brand that was 1%, and 1% meaning of wealth. And right now, especially in our industry with business and corporate America and the world changing, where you can get that 1% client that it's going to fill that banquet room, fill, you know, your event rooms, you know, far as your restaurants, better yet, your room accommodations, you know, because to me, it's the business side of it. It's like the cooking, it's great, but you need clients that it's going to be their breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and for 3 days, and they're going to have rooms. And when you have that, guess what? There's revenue coming in. If revenue's coming in, you don't have to worry about, okay, where are we getting our next guest? You know, so I'm looking at it in a different perspective because I worked in an era where like business world was amazing. Money was coming in, you know, 7 days a week, banquets, you know, the outlets were packed because corporate business in the world, there was harmony, you know, there wasn't tension like what we have right now. So that right there gives you a guideline. And to me, wherever you go, you want to work for a brand that has revenue stream. Because if they do, that means you get your 40 hours instead of like, you work under 30, you know, and that affects your benefits. So you have to kind of look at how is it as the business that's going to help you pay bills and your rent.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. The company you work for, and the company that you expose yourself to makes a big difference. You know, if they're established, if they have a good following, that'll put you up on the pedestal. So thank you so much, Chef Lam, for that. So the more that we put ourselves out there, the more that we are seen and recognized. The people that we meet along the way become our future mentors or even business partners. The more that we get out and show up, the more opportunities that will come our way. This will lead us to our next question. In what way has an opportunity or getting involved boosted your career so far? Chef, you want to start us off?
Absolutely. So I have a few. I'm gonna talk about two of them because they're really major in my life. The first one is when I was don't burn bridges. That's my message. Okay. When I was in the Art Institute of Houston, I had a teacher. Her name was Kate Wilson, and she currently teaches at UCF Rosen College of Hospitality. Um, I told you my journey. I started in Houston and I ended up at UCF, right? So one day, piggybacking onto what Noreen said, I was having trouble with the class, and I'm one of those students where I take advantage of the office hours of my professors, right? Because sometimes when you have to write a paper, getting into their mindset helps you to be able to execute, right? So I was like, I have to drive to Orlando and I'm going to talk to my instructor. As I'm looking for his office, I am looking at the doors, I'm looking, they has the professor names on them, and I see her name. And I was like, there's no way that this could be, Kate Wilson, like the Kate Wilson. So I end up going in there, and she wasn't there at the time, but she ended up coming a couple minutes later, and we met together, right? So I gave her a hug and I was like, oh, hey, how are you? She's like, oh my gosh, like you're doing some amazing things, like you're getting your master's degree. I was like, yeah, I graduate actually next semester. I graduate, and I would really like to get into the instructor professor world because I am a mother, right? And I would like to I love the industry. I love what I do. I love traveling. I'm definitely taking advantage a lot. But as I get older, one of the things I notice about the culinary profession is that it's very demanding on time. A lot of chefs that I know have gotten divorced. They have missed out on their kids growing up, and it comes with a lot of rewards when it comes to your career and building your career. But at the end of the day, family is important to me, so I feel like you should take that into consideration if you're trying to get into this industry, right? If you're building your career, you're working anywhere between 12 to 16-hour days, especially as you climb that ladder and become executive chef. I was the executive chef for the Florida Polytechnic University, and that was a very demanding job. I basically ran 4 different facilities with 2 higher ups above me, and I was the executive chef. I learned the behind the scenes of running a university, right? The purchasing part, the business part that Chef Lam was talking about, right? It's very important for you to know that as a chef. You have to keep food costs, there's budgets. You have to understand that there is percentage of cost that each student has to be able to eat off of breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and it comes with a lot of pressure. I loved doing that job, but I also realized that time flies, right? At the end of the day, you'll bat your eyes and 5 years have passed by. So, with that being said, when I was talking to her, I was already thinking about my future. So, always plan for your future. You never know like where this industry is going to take you. But for me, I know that my end game for my career would be to be a professor. I'm very passionate about students, as I am the National ACF Young Chefs president, right? So I dedicate my time to the younger generation. Um, Back to my story, I caught up with her and I basically mentioned to her that I would really like, to try to get into the profession. I hadn't gotten the degree that I needed yet. And I know that, just because you have a degree doesn't mean that you're going to get into, what you want to do. You have to have experience. You got to start from the bottom, right? So I was like, hey, I'm kind of looking for a position. She mentioned that there might be something coming up, maybe not right away, but she would definitely recommend me to send her my resume. Um, and I would say about 2 days later, I get an email from her, and she's telling me, hey, there's this really great opportunity, and I really think that you would be a great fit. It's not until May. I graduated with my master's on May 5th, and by May 10th, I was flying out to France to do the Cannes Film Festival because she referred me to be one of the chefs. So they only select 10 chefs in the whole world. She ended up passing over the resume that I sent her over to one of the chefs, and I immediately landed an interview, and I was able to be a part of that. At first, honestly, I didn't even know what the Cannes Film Festival was. When I was reading the email, I mentioned it to my husband, and I was like, "Hey, babe, somebody invited me to go do the Cannes Film Festival," and he was like, "You don't know what the Cannes Film Festival is?" And I was like, "No." So he was like, "Grab your phone right now and look up what the Cannes Film Festival is." And I started looking on my phone, and I was like, "No way! Like, no way!" And I couldn't believe it. Right, an opportunity that comes unexpected. So he actually told me, I can't really say that my success has just been me. My husband has definitely been a rock when it comes to my success in my career. And he even told me, he was like, I would be selfish if I didn't allow you to do this in your career. And I was able to go. So I was selected, and I ended up flying out there. There is a program out there for students. If you guys would like to be a part of, it's called the AMPAV. They have different like paths that you could do. They have a culinary one for the Cannes Film Festival, and they select a certain amount of students. I don't know if it's like anywhere between 10 and 20 students. In the hospitality and culinary industry, if you guys, it's almost like in a broad type thing. So you go for like the college, you put in your application, and then they select you based off of what they believe. Um, and I can definitely share the link whenever you post a podcast, but it's a great opportunity. You can also do photography, right? Videography. That's another one of my passions. I feel like in my career, I haven't been able to get this far without sharing my journey, right? I share my journey through reels. I share like the weddings I've done. I share some of the events that I've done. And by sharing those, I've learned to take myself out of the equation. Sometimes it's not about highlighting what I'm doing, but being able to highlight others, right? Highlight other opportunities, almost like the one that I'm highlighting now with the AMPAV. It's just a great opportunity. They even have an opportunity for you guys to go, or the students to go to the Venice Film Festival. Both of these events happen once a year, and there's a particular cost to it, but it's definitely worth it. The experience, the people that you meet, the connections that you make. So I would just advise people to, don't burn your bridges. You never know, like if somebody could reach out from 10 years ago and be able to connect you, and it could change your career. Also just take advantage of sometimes these programs, like Noreen was saying, you could be doing a particular industry and then you meet someone and you're doing something else, right? So just stay focused on your goals and be able to move on based off of what your story, what you want to create, right? Like my end game would be to be a professor, right? I'm pretty sure that if I wanted to achieve something else, I probably could, but also just be mindful of family values. If you're single, right, or you live in a single life and you want to be the best chef you could possibly be, get involved, and I'm pretty sure you'll meet someone who can get you there. So
I love it, Chef. Definitely, I love what you said about putting it out there. You made what you wanted to do known, and it happened for you. So definitely is super, super important. Noreen, Chef Lam, what's your take on it?
I just wanted to highlight one thing Chef Xiomara said was your other interests also in like film and videography, photography. And it just made me think of how many people I've met in the industry and myself as well. We kind of have another thing that we're also interested in. And so I would love to advise people to explore that as well. The wonderful thing about the food industry, you can pivot in a million different directions. And that experience, that skill set, and that network will always serve you moving forward in any career, really. But having something else that you're also passionate about that's interesting to you will just make you that much better in your career because you have a unique perspective. I have friends they're into drone videography and they can use that at things like the Cannes Film Festival, for example,
mhm.
big event of a wedding. The wedding drone photography is amazing. And, I'm interested in the health and wellness. So I can kind of tap into nutrition and, all of the new research on probiotics and tackle it from like a chef point of view, not necessarily a medical point of view. That makes you that much more valuable in the job market and can give you really interesting opportunities in your career. So I really love that. And it's something that's important to me. So have other things that pique your interest and allow yourself to explore them.
Mhm. Love it, Noreen. Chef Lam?
Well, I would say the hospitality has changed. You have the front of the house, you have the back of the house. And what I believe is coexisting, building a team, communicating with people around the world. And now, how do you take those experience and suddenly become a manager? And far as adding your spin of what excellent hospitality is, because the game has changed. So if the game has changed, the system is still the same. And at the end of the day, how do you connect with that individual? How do you make that individual feel special where they're giving 100% to their role and their position, not on their phone, but in work and saying, this is the task.
Yeah, I love it, Chef. So we have about like 10 minutes left. So kind of to wrap it up a little bit, what is some advice that you have for people that want to get involved, they just kind of need that courage or that extra push? How can they start? and how can they gain that courage to kind of get involved? Chef, you want to start us off?
Absolutely. So I would say reach out to your mentors. Everybody has a mentor, right, in the industry. Definitely reach out to them. If you would like to become a member of the American Culinary Federation, I would recommend it. Even Chef Isaiah, like I reached out to him because the convention was in Las Vegas this year, and I had a lot of stuff going on. And we both reached out to each other, and he asked for help. He volunteered. He came in, and for students who are not members and they want to volunteer, they can volunteer. We want you to get that experience first. It's not even about becoming a member and paying money. It's about basically just you benefiting from the experience. So students in the American Culinary Federation, if you want to do a national convention, our next one is actually in Grand Rapids, I believe the last week of June. That's when it is next year, 2026. Um, there's a lot of things, a lot of events that students can volunteer for. Um, there is the Culinary Knowledge Bowl, the student competitions, right? Like student teams, student chef of the year, student pastry chef of the year. We also have the trade show. At the trade show, if you volunteer and you meet a broker like who I work for, they can, they travel all over. You can get a job with them, and who knows where your path can come just by coming to an event that's that big. It's chefs that come together from all over the nation, and it's just a great opportunity to even be in the room. Um, Also, like I mentioned, just volunteering gets you a free pass to the convention. This year they did a $50 gift card per day, which I thought was pretty cool, and you get free parking as well. So if you want to reach out and you want to volunteer, like I'll be more than happy to put your name down, and we can definitely connect at next year's convention. Um, if you want to if you do eventually decide to join and you see that there's a chapter nearby, there's different certifications for students, right? You have certified fundamentals cook. It's an entry level certification that doesn't really require any work experience. That's more for like, the high school students. There's a lot of high school culinary programs out there, especially in Florida. Certified fundamentals pastry cook. It's also an entry level certification. It doesn't require any work experience as well. And certified pastry culinarian, and of course, certified culinarian. So there's a lot of universities and schools that participate in the secondary student programs and the post-secondary student programs. For example, like the Culinary Institute of America, Johnson and Wales, Escoffier. If you are a student and you graduate with a degree from there, you can basically, become a member for free for 1 year and try out the American Culinary Federation. Upon graduation, just check it out. There's always a lot of jobs. Me as the current president for the students, I get so many chefs that hit me up and they're like, "Hey, I need someone to help me with this catering company I'm hiring. This is the pay," or I have this event coming up and it's in Michigan. I'm not even in Michigan. You know what I mean? So just being out there and being able just to share the opportunities with students and letting them know to be a part of it is definitely and also saving the industry because like we mentioned before, the culinary schools are, they're going away, but at the end of the day, you don't have to go to culinary school in order to become a chef. You could you could start it as an apprentice, or you could work at fancy hotels like the Marriott, right? And just kind of work your way up, or even like golf clubs. Those are really good to work for. Just kind of get yourself out there and get started. Definitely reach out. I'm here. You can follow me on social media. I'm on all platforms. Watch the podcast. Hopefully, we'll share some links. But that's what I would recommend.
Thank you so much, Chef, for that great advice. With about 3 minutes left, Noreen, Chef Lam, go for it.
One thing I wanted to touch on, all of Chef Xiomara's advice, but the end she mentioned, I'm on social media. Everyone's on social media, right? That's an opportunity to work your network. Everyone went to a high school. even if you didn't go to a college. If you did, you have even a wider network. Just message people on LinkedIn, message people on Instagram, message people on Facebook. You may not get a response every time, but you see something that someone else is doing. Oh, they're a graphic designer. I have no idea how to even get into that, but it's interesting to me. Just message them. Find a time to chat, and you may not know what's going to come out of that. So just being open and reaching out to people. And, if you have mentors, and if you don't, definitely work on that. Trying to find someone who can mentor you. People open doors for other people. So spending time on social media can be a side quest that a lot of people do. Use it to your advantage. It's a tool. It's amazing that we can contact someone in Dubai on Facebook. Do it. Just reach out. You never know what the answer is going to be. Don't tell yourself no. Let someone else tell you no. Just go ahead and ask.
I love it, Noreen. Thank you so much. Chef Lam.
Well, I'm going to talk about a different skill. You're an athlete, and think about where you're reaching out to people around the world and brands around the world. And you got to tell a story. And that takes energy, that takes speed, that takes power, And I would say this: body, mind, spirit, and food, right? These 4 pillars, you got to be A+ in all 4 of them. Because if you're A+ in all 4 of them, the industry, environment, and culture sometimes can be toxic, but it's not going to do anything to you. It's just going to bounce off you, right? Because you're grounded. But then you're able to teach people, guess what? It does matter what you eat. If you eat clean, your brain is clean, your heart is clean, your eyes are clean, your ears are clean. Now you make good choices and you connect with other people. So that's another way of highlighting your resume is your presentation. Like I always say, when you don this white jacket, you're not Chef Boyardee, That's back in the old school. The new version of Chef Boyardee, you're like, wow, you're an athlete, And that's something that I would say, consider.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much, Chef, for that. So we are running out of time, but thank you so much, Chef, for all your stories, all your great advice. Really appreciated you having you on this podcast. You not only impacted those listening, but impacted those that are affected by those listening as well. So thank you so much, Chef. Thank you, Noreen. Thank you, Chef Lam, and see you guys on the next podcast. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.